Let's stay on the rate cut now. I reckon the Prime Minister must think Australian voters are a bunch of mugs. How else can you explain his appearance in his own electorate? It happened this morning, televised on Sky Live. He was there to trumpet the decision taken by the Independent Reserve Bank yesterday to cut the cash rate for the first time since way back in November 2020. So what does the Prime Minister do to celebrate that interest rate cut that his policies had nothing to do with? Well, Anthony Albanese wheeled out a couple who have a mortgage in a suburb where he is the local member. They owe the bank, according to the Prime Minister, $600,000 on that mortgage, and when the 0.25 cut is asked for by the Labor supporting locals, they're going to save the grand total of $115 a month. That's $28 a week, not even a coffee a day. I mean, seriously. At the same media conference, the Prime Minister claimed that his government had worked with Australians and we were heading in the right direction.
My government has worked with Australians to bring down inflation, to see wages increasing, to see interest rates now falling, a tax cut for every single Australian.
I mean, seriously, he's an appalling campaigner. That inner Sydney seat of Marrickville, by the way, has some of the most expensive rents in the nation. What has this term of Labor done to drive down rents? Nothing. As we know, immigration has contributed to what we are calling and what is really a housing crisis. And as usual, the media conference wound up with an attack on opposition leader Peter Dutton.
The only people that I've seen disappointed by the Reserve Bank governor is, well, I don't know what Peter Dutton thinks because no one's seen him since the announcement. But Angus Taylor looked like someone had run over his cat in the driveway yesterday. He looked so disappointed, and they continue to talk Australia down.
Just silly little sledges. If what we saw this morning was a dress rehearsal for the upcoming election, then I reckon Labor's in more trouble than we all thought. Let's bring in our panel, Senior Fellow at Menzies Research Centre Nick Cater and the Shadow Environment Minister Jonathan Duniam. Welcome to you both. Let's start with that breaking news this afternoon. South Australian Government rescue operation underway, going to step in and put the Whyalla steelworks into administration. Peter Malinauskas goes there tomorrow. So will the Prime Minister. I suspect they're going to throw more money at it. Now, here was the SA Premier Malinauskas earlier today.
It is unacceptable for such an important, critical piece of economic infrastructure for the nation to be in a situation where its ongoing operations are so severely compromised as we believe was the case prior to today.
Jono, what's going on here? We've got a state government forcing a private company into administration. This company was given $61 million last January before this one, by Chris Bowen. I mean, do you think that they will announce tomorrow more grants and more money to be poured into Whyalla?
Well, this is, Steve, a government that is quite cavalier about the use of taxpayers' money, and they'll splash it about whenever it suits them. Let's not forget, though, that the reason this company was in the situation it was in is because of this government, both state and federal Labor government's ideological pursuit of green energy transition. The safeguard mechanism would not help this business. The higher power prices they contend with would not help this business. Inflexible industrial relations laws would not help this business. So they've created the problem, and now they can come in the night in shining armour to save this business and these jobs. It's all a little bit too convenient. So while they're out there claiming credit for saving the day, I think they should also acknowledge the hand they've had in driving this business to the brink, along with so many others across the country. There are 27,000 businesses that have gone into receivership. Where's the handout for them? So this government, you know, while they want to crow about this, they should talk about the road that took this business to this point in the first place.
Nick, we saw Peter Credlin there at the start of the program talking about what the ARC conference in the UK is hearing about this rush to net zero, and you had the new US administration standing up there saying it's madness. Is the wheel turning, do you think?
I think it is turning, not for this government here, not for the Albanese government, but I think, just to go back to Whyalla for a moment, that illustrates that this whole future made in Australia plan isn't working, even though they're spending squillions on television advertising that campaign right now. The green energy superpower isn't working. The fantasy about green hydrogen, green steel, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And sooner or later, reality will bite. Hopefully, the electorate will realise that there's no future under this government if it continues these plans. But certainly, I think, you know, as on so many issues, the election of Donald Trump has really pushed the debate along on this, on the side of common sense.
Jono, I suspect Chris Bowen won't be on the PM's plane tomorrow on the way to Whyalla. Let's have a look and remind ourselves what he said about that operation in Whyalla and green hydrogen a year ago.
I'm also announcing today another allocation out of the fund of $63 million for BlueScope's friends at Liberty Steel in Whyalla. That'll be used for the establishment of an electric arc furnace.
Jono, $63 million down the drain?
$63 million of hard-earned taxpayers' money used in a way that now, frankly, we have not much to show for. And again, all in pursuit of net zero. When other countries aren't doing this and have seen the light and gone, well, gee, you know what, we're pricing ourselves out of the market, making ourselves uncompetitive, and this is what this government is doing, it will be interesting to see whether they, tomorrow, when they have their press conference, acknowledge this in any way. But again, as I said before, Labor governments, state and federal, have no problem handing out cash, particularly when it is not their own money, for whatever stunt or prop up they need to be a part of, and this will be the latest.